Hi, welcome. My name is Abby O'Neill. I'm a medical intuitive, and we're welcoming you to the class of the nature of evil, the nature of light. The other teacher is Jim McCarthy. He's been an energy healer and a meditation teacher, a spiritual counselor for over 20 years. We're both going to be teaching techniques to connect us with the source of light, the divine source, and just help us deal with anything negative in our life, know how to understand it, and actually know how to circumvent it or rise above it so that we aren't affected by the negativities in our world. Um, as I was thinking about this topic today, well, of course, it's a huge topic. But I thought to myself, how does all this get started where people start doing all this negative stuff? I think it starts with separation. Because I work a lot as a medical intuitive, I work a lot with helping people to go back to their childhood and let go of some very deep wounds that we all get. And as I started to do this work, naturally, I thought I was the only one with the big wound, or the biggest, put it that way. But it turned out, whoa, everybody has a wound. Everybody comes into this childhood feeling separate. We start out maybe as a big glob of love and light. I don't know how we start out, but as we come into this world as a separate person, we're separate. And probably our first experiences as a child are, I'm different. Maybe I'm fat, maybe I'm thin, maybe I'm tall, maybe I'm short. Maybe I do well at school, maybe I do terribly at school. Maybe I'm good at sports, maybe I'm terrible at sports. Maybe I come from a challenged country where there's war going on or all kinds of difficulties. Maybe my family's crazy. A lot of people would raise their hands on that one. So from the very beginning, we're feeling separate. And a lot of our life as it plays out is how do we deal with feeling so separate? Do we have an original wound where we just feel kind of unlovable or we want to act like other people, fit in with other people? And what happens when we get really wounded and we think, wow, I can't fit in with other people. I'm too different. I'm too weird. I'm too crippled. My family, whoa, we all have those thoughts. I think where evil comes in, if you want to call it evil or darkness, is in that wound because evil, darkness always comes from a wound. And as we get wounded, we think of several alternatives to deal with the wound. One alternative is to get back at the world. One alternative is to not forgive the people that hurt us. One alternative is to, if we got rejected, I'm going to reject other people. If I've been deprived, I'm going to deprive other people. If I've been judged, maybe I'm going to judge other people. If I feel punished, maybe I'm going to punish other people because it's going to give me a sense of power. It's going to give me a sense of like, I can climb out of this wound and I can, kick ass. I can be powerful. I can get over this wound. But the trouble with the path of darkness is that it seems like it would help, but it doesn't. It actually just makes the wound worse and worse. As we stay in that negativity, we just compound negativity. And we may see people in our family, our job, our relationships, our country, internationally, where people have dug their heels in and said, okay, I'm going to go into the negative because that's where I'm going to find my power. And then we have to deal with that where we're like, wait a minute, that creates separation. You're coming from a wound where you feel separate, you act out, you flail around in that wound, and you bring that negativity to everybody else. And one of the big messages of evil, I think, is that we're all separate. We're all alone. We're all wounded. But all the that is it's coming from somebody who feels that way, who feels that they're in a huge wound, that they're totally separate, and they're somehow going to find some power by acting out. How do we get around that? Obviously, it's been going down through history, well, all through history. I think the way to circumvent that is, first of all, to get on our own healing path where we let go of our wound and we get rid of any desire we may have to stay in the wound. We may think that we're out of the wound, but any feeling we have of self-hatred, hating others, getting into fear, wanting to take it out on people, being unable to forgive. These are all things that we all face, that we all fight, and yet they all kind of pull down our vibration. It's a little harder to step outside and say, wait a minute, that seems negative. I don't really want to do that. I want to somehow jump up out of the fear, the anger, the hatred, the separation. I know that there is such a thing as divine energy, as spirit. I know I can connect to that. I know I can connect to other people. I know that together in the divine energy, we're much stronger as we connect. We don't have to separate from each other. We don't have to carry that original wound. And as we connect to spirit, we're sort of saying to ourselves, I can unplug from this matrix. I don't need to be in this matrix of negativity. I don't need someone in my family, for example, to set the tone where we all feel like we have to tiptoe around them or deal with their bad habits or deal with their outbursts. It's the same in a job where everybody's afraid of a certain boss or has to deal with a certain personality at work. Those people may have chosen to stay in the wound. We may not be able to help them. We can't just show up love, light, and flowers and heal them. We may have, tried that. It doesn't always work because you got to remember that somebody who chooses negativity, who chooses darkness, is also choosing to hide. They're choosing to try to get into power through the wound. They don't want to let go of the wound. And sometimes we have to let them be with their choice. We can't change their mind. We might try, but the best way we can stay in our own light, to stay in divine light, and especially to stay out of that undercurrent of negative emotions, is to simply raise our frequency. Now, that word is bandied about a lot now, but I see it as connecting more to your divine nature, understanding that your wound isn't you and letting go of it, understanding that you can let go of a lot of negative practices, that you can outgrow them and use these spiritual tools to get past them. But also, I think in a much wider, larger sense, to understand that in a negative world with things that we might be afraid of or dreading, whether it's local, whether it's in our family, whether we wake up to somebody in the morning, whether we go to work and see someone, whether we read the paper and we're freaked out, the main thing to understand is we can unplug from that matrix. We don't have to be dominated by fear, anger, hatred. We don't have to be stimulated like that. Now, that may seem like a tall order, but all the exercises and meditations that Jim and I do are specifically designed to get us to that higher frequency. They're specifically designed to help us have that overview where we look down and say, I don't really want to be part of that negative world. I'm not in denial, because let's think about denial for a moment. Denial is pretty much you're in a really bad situation, but you're pretending it's not. You're sort of not looking at it and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm fine. This is fine. My alcoholic father is fine. You know, this drug addicted brother is fine. So that's kind of denial. That's where we repress our emotions and try to hold it all in. being a medical intuitive, I can tell you that doesn't work. It creates a lot of illness. We don't ever want to suppress our emotions, ignore them, deny them. We don't want to have some construct where we're saying, oh, everything is fine and trying to skate along like that. What I'm talking about going to a higher frequency, is kind of different. It's being fully aware of the negative, fully aware of maybe what you might consider evil, and yet at the same time having a strong spiritual practice where you raise your frequency and you aren't triggered by the negativity. Now you might say, how could I not be triggered? This idiot at my job is bothering me every day, or I read the paper and I'm totally freaked out. Well, that is a challenge. And I invite you to look at some of our past classes and especially Jim's work, where he really works on helping people let go of their triggers. I know myself, I had a lot of triggers going, and actually meeting Jim, working with his techniques, I let go of a lot of my triggers. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but it does feel a lot better not to have some piece of news come to you or some person walk in the room and just not know what to do with it. As we let go of our trigger, we also can access that higher frequency, and we can pretty much stay there. It's sort of an effort for all of us to unplug from a negative matrix and just stay unplugged. We can still be conscious. We can still be part of the world. We may work with people that trigger us. We may live with people that trigger us. We may read the news about things that trigger us, but we aren't triggered. And that's sort of the trick here. So, what I'm going to do is lead you through a bunch of energy exercises and a meditation, mainly to connect with this deeper divine energy that we all have inside of us. I call it our chi, our life force energy. I think as we get more and more adept to connect with the energy, to connect with the light, to connect with whatever we perceive as a divine energy that comes into us and connects with us every day, we just automatically go to that higher frequency. I think the big surprise element of the higher frequency is that it actually works. I don't know, it surprised me. Um, Mainly because the world can be very tense and formidable. And as we grow to adulthood, especially from our child wound, we go through a lot of experiences, we see a lot of people, and it can be hard to keep any faith in the positive. We think, wow, this is my wound. I see it all around me. I see it in the world. This is a wounded place, a wounded planet. It's hard to take a jump from there and just kind of go, but wait a minute, I think there's a solution here. I think there's another place to go with all this. I don't think we need to stay here. And that's really the basis of this work, I think. So if everybody is ready to go into a meditation, I'm just going to start leading a meditation now. So get comfortable. Uh, you don't have to lie down, but just get as comfortable as you can. We're going to start out by closing our eyes and taking some deep breaths. Also, I want to say that this is a complex topic. If you have questions, we're going to save our questions for the end of this class. But let's just get involved in the meditation now, because it might answer some questions that you have as you feel all this. Because remember, we can get all stewed up by negativity and then we try to solve it with our brain. We try to go into a place where we're like, oh my God, I have all these problems. I've got to figure it out with my mind. And then, of course, we get more freaked out. Where this energy work goes is to a different place. It goes to a place of feeling, heart, soul, where we can connect to a divine energy that is not really part of our mental framework. That's why it can come in and heal us and lift us in a way that we don't really expect. because it's really not of the mental realm at all. And yet we can all access it. So if you're all ready, let's close our eyes and take a deep breath. Just keep breathing deeply. Feel that breath go all throughout your body. I want you to pull the breath down from a shallow breath in your chest, down to your stomach, your belly. Now I want you to pull the breath all the way down your legs to your toes. Your whole body is filling up with oxygen. We want to park all our questions, our thoughts, our mental activity. Let's get into the energy now, because the energy, oddly enough, is the answer. So again, a deep, deep breath. Pull it all the way down to your toes. This time when we breathe, I want you to pull the breath in, and I want you to hold the breath. Pull it in and hold it as long as you can. Just feel a silence in you. When you feel ready, just let it out. Let's pull the breath in another time. Again, pull it way in and hold your breath. Let it out when it feels comfortable. One last time, we pull our breath in, pull it all the way down to your toes and hold the breath. Now let it out. Now we're going to roll our head on our neck. We're just relaxing. We're just getting relaxed. Our head is loose and limp, loose and limp. We're just rolling our head around. Just let it go. If there's any tense spots in your neck, because we often hold a lot of energy in our neck, just roll over it very gently. Just roll around. Now let's go the opposite direction. Relaxing your neck, relaxing your head, just relaxing. Now I want you to be still for a moment. Feel that relaxation. Now we're going to raise our shoulders. See if you can press right up to the bottom of your ears. We're going to be as tense as we possibly can be now. Tense, tense, tense. Now let your shoulders drop. Let's do that again. Squeeze your shoulders way, way up. Tense, tense, tense. Now let your shoulders drop. Now we're going to raise our hands up to the ceiling. We feel a stretch right from the base of our spine, up our back, our shoulders, our arms. If you're lying down and you're relaxing, just raise up your arms. Feel that stretch. Feel that huge stretch and stretch higher and higher. As we let our arms come down, they're going to float down very slowly now. They're just snowflakes floating down. It's as if there's no weight in your hands. It's as if you're trying to push your hands through snow and you just can't. because your arms are weightless. Your body is weightless. You're just floating. Your arms are floating, your hands are floating. There's really no weight anywhere in your body. If a breeze came along, it would just blow you sideways. No weight at all. Now, if you're seated, I want you to lean forward, lean to the side, lean to the back, and lean to the side. If you're lying down, I just want you to move your hips in a circle as much as is comfortable for you. We're just kind of relaxing our lower back. That's what we're doing. We're just going around and around in a circle, relaxing our back, just stretching it out, feeling all the kinks in our back, just ironing them out very easily and slowly. Now let's go in the opposite direction. Again, feel those kinks just gently let go. Just relaxing your back. Around in a circle, around in a big, big circle. Just finding our way here, just relaxing. Now we're going to sit up straight, or if you're lying down, just lie down straight. Now, all we have to do is to feel our body. What does your body feel like right now? What does your energy feel like? There's no right answers. For every person, your energy is going to feel different. So why don't we take a silent moment and just feel into our body? I want you to imagine a bright, bright light coming down to the top of your head, filling your body. We're calling it in the name of God, Creator, Great Spirit. This light rushes into your body, rushes down your legs, rushes down your arms. It swirls around your heart. It's light, it's effervescent, just like champagne. You can hardly feel it, but it's always moving in your body. This is your chi, your life force. If you put your hand on your pulse, there's always energy in your body. There's always motion. There's always this beautiful energy rushing through you. We forget about it, but it's always there. Now I want you to imagine your heart area filling with this beautiful energy. If you have a hard time visualizing light, I want you to imagine that you're under a waterfall with the water just pelting down on you. Or maybe you're standing up on top of a hill and the wind is blowing right through you. This is our divine energy. It's always with us, it's always moving. Let's go to your heart now. It's all filled up with this beautiful golden light. Now it spills out of your heart and it swirls all around you. This is your energy field. Can you see this moving, dancing energy all around you? Sometimes, if we're very vulnerable or if we're an empath, our shield of light energy gets very narrow. It might just be an inch. When we're feeling confident, it might balloon out to where we're completely surrounded by a thick area of energy and light. I want you to look at it now and feel it. If you feel you need more protection, more light, remember there's always more energy or light pouring through your crown chakra. It pours into you, it pours out of your heart, it creates this beautiful shield around you. If you feel you need more energy, just watch as that energy puffs out all around you. When the light hits our energy field, that's our aura. We all have an energy field, we all have an aura. As we just do this one simple exercise every day, you'll find that you are much more protected as you go through your day. It's very simple, but it works. It works to actually visualize this light field around you because it exists. Now, I want you to go back to your heart now. Our chi, our life force energy, is stored in our heart. Our heart is kind of a battery. We want to be like those modern car batteries where they're all sealed. We don't want to leak out any energy. We want to keep our energy for ourselves so that we're strongly in our chi energy at all times. One source of our chi energy is our joy or our happiness. Now you may say to yourself, whoa, how do I do that? Well, I want you to think back over the last couple of weeks or so. I want you to think about those moments that were really happy for you or joyful. Maybe they were just calm and comforting. Maybe it was just a great cup of tea or walking your dog, seeing a sunset. I want you to line up those feelings and those memories and think about how they felt in your heart. If you have a hard time connecting with a feeling of joy or happiness, if you have felt depressed or afraid, try to just imagine light coming into your heart because we all want to connect with this higher frequency. We all want to step aside from the fear, the anger, the hatred. Sometimes it's hard. That's why we have these exercises. We want to figure out how to do it so that we aren't burdened with this negativity. So, again, let's go to your heart. If you're having a hard time with it, just imagine it filling up with a golden light, or just imagine a breeze coming through it. This is all feeling. We're letting go of our mind. We're just feeling. Now we're going to give ourselves a little bit more energy in another way. We're calling in our guides and our angels. Now, this is the idea that instead of just going alone through this crazy world, we do have light beings or invisible beings that have been with us since we were born that help us. The more we call them in, the more they protect us, the more they help us. So let's call them in now. And we're going to ask them to help us get more chi, get more energy. How are we going to do that? We're going to put our hands out in front of our heart. Our palms are up. I want you to imagine a ball of light or a ball of energy in your hands. If you have a hard time imagining things, just intend it. Just say, I call in my angels and I intend to have this ball of energy in my hands. You can just say it, there's no mystery about it. What happens when we call our angels in when we intend, well, it works. I hate to break it to you, but it actually works. So again, let's imagine that ball of energy or light in our hands. For those of you that are perceiving it, what does it feel like? Can you feel a friction between your hands? Can you feel a warmth? Do you see a color of this ball of light? Do you feel it getting heavy or lighter, bigger, smaller? What does it feel like to you? Just move your hands around and feel this energy. Now we say to ourselves, dearest God, Creator, I accept this gift of love that you're giving me today. This is the bigger universe, bigger than our world that's made of love and light. Sometimes we get so full of shadows we forget about it, but it's always right here. Now let's go back to that light in our hand. Did it change any? Is it a different color? Does it feel different? I want you to put that light right into your heart. Can you feel that? We say to ourselves, I receive it in my heart and in my life. Let's put our hands out one more time. There's another ball of light or energy in your hands. Now, I want you to play around with this. If you're having a hard time imagining energy or light, use an image that works for you. Call in your guides and angels. Ask for this ball of energy or light. If you're feeling it, if you're seeing it, what does it look like? What does it feel like? Now, this energy in your hands is a gift from the universe to you specifically today. It could be the answer to a certain problem. It could be a change in a relationship. It could be patience. It could be joy. It could be prosperity, wisdom about a certain matter in your life. Let's focus in on this gift. Does it have a message for you? Does it have a color? What does it feel like? So we say to ourselves, dearest God, Creator, I accept this gift that you're giving me today. It's always very important to proclaim that we accept the gift. Did it change any since we were talking? Is it a different color? Is there another message? Did it get bigger or smaller? Let's put that gift right into your heart. You've accepted it now. You've been given a gift by the divine, and it's real. To yourself, you say, I receive it in my heart and in my life. One thing about the presence of evil or negativity or darkness is that it tries to convince us that it's the only way, that we have to get down to its level to fight it, that it's going to have authority over us, it's going to have power over us. But the real reason we're getting that feeling from it is because it's being generated by people that feel incredibly powerless. They want to take power from other people because they don't know what else to do. They felt so separate and so dark themselves that they get in the habit of taking, of trying to take power from people, take anything from people. It may seem like we have to fight them on their level, but we really don't. All we have to do is stay in the certainty of the light and just kind of rise above it. Don't plug into those beliefs or that matrix. And we're 95% free of that reality because it's just an illusion. So, what I want us to do now in our meditation is learn how to use this beautiful light, this beautiful chi or life force energy, because we can not only fill with it, we can heal with it, we can direct it to certain things. And as we understand how powerful it is, we get less and less convinced that darkness or negativity could ever really penetrate it or bother us. So I want us to now go back to our heart, go back to the beautiful, warm feelings of light in our heart. Take a breath, just center yourself in this beautiful chi, life force energy. Feel your body for a moment. Did it change any? Do you feel more energized? Do you feel more sleepy? Do you feel warm any place? How do you feel? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to send light to a certain part of our body. Is there any part of your body that feels like it has an ache or a pain? Or are you feeling a little afraid? Do you feel heavy in a certain part of your body? Do you have a headache? Do you worry? How do we do this? Well, let's go to our heart. Feel this beautiful golden light in our heart. We're calling in our guides and our angels to help us heal ourselves. Even if you're feeling worry or fear, where does that worry or fear live? Does it live in your stomach? Do you feel a heavy, blocked feeling in your throat? I want you to feel this warmth in your heart, this light, and we're asking our guides and our angels to spread that light to the place that you want to heal in your body. If there's many places, go to one first. Let's see if you can feel that warmth, that life force move like a body of light just going to your throat or your stomach or your head. Let's try that for a moment. We're asking your guides and your angels to send that light to heal your body. If you're having a hard time perceiving it, by asking your angels, it's going to happen anyway. So let's just sit with that for a moment. Feel that warmth coming to that part of your body and just sit in the warmth. That's all we have to do. We don't have any visualizations, we don't have any commands. We just want to sit in the energy. Breathe deeply. Breathe that energy right into that part of your body. Feel it for a moment. Does it feel a little bit warmer there? Do you feel any tingling, any sensation? If you don't worry about it. We're still intending to be healed. We're sitting in the energy now. Now we're asking your guides and your angels to continue that healing all through today and tomorrow. We're pulling our awareness back to our heart now. So again, let's go to our heart. Let's feel warmth there. Let's feel the energy. Remember how we had a bubble of light in our hands. Well, you can either put your hands out for another bubble of light, or you can imagine a bubble of light that's hovering right in front of your heart. Now, this bubble is filled with light. Let's take a look at it for a moment. There's more light pouring into this bubble of light from above, from your own heart. It's all lit up. And now, into this bubble of light, I want you to ask a person that you would like to heal to come into the bubble. Maybe someone that needs physical healing, they might need emotional healing. You can even call in someone who's passed. But once again, all we do in this bubble of light is sit there in the light. We're not visualizing, we're not intending. We simply invite that person to come into the light, and then we just hold the light. Let's try to do that now. A person walking into a bubble of light might do several things. They might speak to you, they might fill up with light themselves. You might get an insight about them. Let's just focus on it. If they don't want to come into the bubble of light, they don't have to. Let's just focus and sit with it for a moment. We ask our guides and angels to continue healing this person, to allow that person to continue to be healed with light. And we let that bubble of light float up to God, Creator, the universe, so that that person can continue healing and continue to be filled with light and love. Now let's have a third ball of light in our hands. Again, imagine a ball of light filled with light from above or from your heart. If you have a hard time visualizing it, just ask for it. We're calling in your guides and your angels. Imagine that light bubble filling up. It's so bright, it's so powerful. And into that bubble of light, we're calling in something that has upset you, an event, a person, something maybe in your future. And again, as we call this into the light, we aren't asking for a certain outcome. We don't control it, we don't dominate it. We're just putting it into the light. And then we're letting the light show us, can it be healed? Are we getting insight? So again, the bubble of light is in front of you. Call in a certain incident or event or a person that's upsetting you. And let's just spend a moment seeing the light work on it. Has the light brought you any information or changed this at all? If not, don't worry about it. We're calling in your guides and your angels to help heal the situation for you. But we're allowing the light to guide us to our highest and best good. We aren't trying to control the outcome. That's what makes working with light so powerful, is that we are not trying to control it. That's what makes it work. The moment we try to control it or intellectualize it, it usually doesn't work. But I'm hoping that through these exercises, you can kind of get the hang of it. See that light filling this conflict or this difficulty? What does it feel like to you? Now let's let this light bubble rise up to God or Creator, allowing the universe or the highest intelligence to bring about the highest and best good for all involved. Just see it floating up in the air. Let's go back to your hearts again. Your heart is just overflowing with golden light now, your chi energy. It's always there for you, it's always available. You can connect with it at any time during the day. You can call in your angels at any time during the day and get re energized, get stronger, get more protected, get more connected to that higher frequency. So, wherever you're sitting now, now we're going to fill your space with light. Now, I know many people burn sage or put crystals around, and I think that really works. But even more so is if we fill our space with light. So I want you to get centered in your heart. Feel that beautiful light in your heart right now. More is pouring through your crown chakra, filling your body all the time. Now I want you to imagine that that light spills out of your heart in a steady stream and fills up the room that you're in. We're calling in your guides and your angels to fill up your house or your room with light and to give you extra protection. If you're in a house and you feel like you want to fill up the whole house with light, I want you to fill up this one room with light and then go from room to room. But the most important part of this is to actually feel the light. So if you're faltering, just concentrate on the room you're in. How does it feel? It's going to feel different for everybody, but try to connect with that warm feeling and try to connect with this image of light or energy. Just see it fill the room you're in. Keep filling your space. Sometimes when we fill up a space, we encounter a room or a place where somebody's been who's been more depressed or more negative. It might be harder to pull the light into that area, but keep trying and keep pulling in your guides and angels, and just put out the intention that your whole living space is filled with light and protected by light. How does that feel? Does that feel like an extension of the light within your own body? We leave all that light in your living space. We pull back our light right back to our heart and just sit with your heart for a moment. Feel your body. Feel the energy in your body. Does it feel clear? Does it feel energized? Is there still some heavy places? You're always filling up with light all the time. This is a tool you can use every day. The light completely fills your body now. You feel warm all throughout your body. And we're calling on your guides and your angels to come in and continue to heal you and guide you every day, to keep guiding you to a higher frequency, to a place of non reactiveness, where your original suffering or triggers are falling away from you and you live in the certainty of light and love. You feel safe, you feel warm, your whole body feels warm. Let's take a deep breath. Another deep, deep breath. We're slowly coming back to the room now. When you feel ready, just stretch and open your eyes. As you know, and some of you are healers yourself, we just took a little tour into the world of light, which is just as powerful as any darkness, way more powerful, and it's always there for us. We may forget about that, but it is so, so powerful for all of us. All we have to do is call it in every day, feel the protection, feel the light, keep connecting. We're going to take a 10-minute break now, and then Jim McCarthy will come and teach and lead us through more meditation. So take a break. If you need to write anything down, get something to eat, but be sure you start coming back a little bit before 10 minutes because we'll start right on time.
Okay. I hope it's been long enough, but welcome back, everyone. My name is Jim McCarthy, and I've been teaching with Abby for about 6 years, probably. And before that, we taught independently of each other for probably another 15 years. And it's nice to see everybody. Hope you're enjoying your weekends. This topic is one of the most confusing topics there is for for teaching for me anyway. Um, learning to connect with light is pretty simple. Understanding guidance is pretty simple, but the ability to discern between good and evil is very personal, and it's hard to understand because we all look at things from our own perspective, our own position. And, I studied mysticism for a long time, and the definition of good and evil in mysticism is that anything that's destructive is evil and anything that's healing is good for the most part, right? And, you know, you look at the world and you look at all these different variables going on, and you just, it's like when you look at it from, we always look at things from our position of consciousness because that's our understanding. And so when we look at other people doing things, it's like, well, why would they do that? That's destructive, right? But we don't understand their lessons or their whole life stories or anything like that. And I remember at one time, any sickness was just darkness expressing itself, right? And I I thought that, everybody should be healed that was sick. And so I was at the hospital one time with my daughter, and it was in the middle of the night, and I'm kind of an empath, so I feel everything. So I was feeling all of this sickness and the desperation of the people in the ER. And I remember getting really frustrated about it and wondering, if God's so loving and so good, why are all these people sick? And so I started kind of pestering the divine and asking, why don't you heal these people? Right? And it was funny because the answer I got wasn't what I was expecting. And the answer I got was, if I just took away their illness, they would never learn. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And it's like, sometimes people need lessons in life in order to learn something. And some of those lessons are uncomfortable. And I said, okay. And they said, so, you know, you're better off just monitoring your own life and not what everybody else's is like. And I was like, huh, right. And then later on, I studied Mother Mara, who's an avatar from Germany, and she's was born like all knowing. And I was watching someone ask her a question one time, and the question was, what about evil? What about darkness in this world? And she looked at her and she said, it's all good, to the person asking the question. And the lady was dumbfounded. She's like, what do you mean it's all good? And she says, what may be evil for you might be someone else's lesson. And it really took me back to that night in the hospital, realizing that everything's purposeful. And where we get off track is trying to understand someone else's journey in their lives instead of focusing on healing ourselves and understanding how we can overcome darkness and attune ourselves more to light and live in truth. And so, you know, the subject of good and evil is really personal, you know, um, on a broad scale, you know, darkness always has to do, like, from my perspective, darkness always has to do with operating out of fear, anger, hate, you know, jealousy, all of these lower emotions. Okay. And all those lower emotions are based on misperceiving what the truth is or feeling separate and independent of light, right? When we're in a wound is when we start to miscreate and create things that cause suffering for ourselves or for others. When we stay connected, we'll always have right thought and take right action. Okay. So, I used to ask people when I taught Sacred Room, and I would ask people, whose thoughts are more powerful, yours or mine? And, and they'd look at me like, and it would be funny how they process it. Some people would say, well, yours are, because I was the teacher. And other people said, I don't know. And then the answer to that question is, on an earthly plane of consciousness, the thoughts that have the most power are the ones you believe in. right? So if someone tells you a lie, if you believe in it, temporarily it's going to have power over you. Okay. It's only when you quit believing it that it doesn't have power over you. Okay. And on a higher, on a more true level of consciousness, it goes to whose thoughts are more power, yours or mine, whichever thoughts come from light, right? Because that is always truth and it always has more power than anything else. Okay. Um, Let me see here. Another question asked to Mother Mara from India. They asked, "Does evil exist?" Because some people just say it's all illusion, right? And her answer was, the divine is in control. The divine knows how to use evil. The evil forces are very dangerous, but also very stupid. Never be afraid of evil under even the worst circumstances. The divine is always there, always helping, and this can be experienced. Evil is real, but not the final reality. The final reality is the light, the love of God. Root yourself in that final reality, and always and at every moment, and evil will always crumble all around you, right? And there's a law in this world called the law of resonance. And that law is that the higher frequency always dominates. So if you're connected to light and you have cleared anything that's blocking that connection, you'll always be protected. You'll always have grace. You'll always have good intuition. And you'll get thoughts that are what you need in the present moment. Okay, so um, I look at my own journey with good and evil was always based on monitoring myself and monitoring what's going on in my own consciousness. And I think that that's really all we can understand and all we're supposed to understand and control. You know, when we start looking at the world and judging other people as good or evil and trying to change them, we lose track of our own purpose sometimes. And so when I work with people, what I've noticed is that when they're having emotional suffering, let's say, and people usually don't come to me unless they have something going wrong. They don't come to me and say everything's great, please help me, right? They come when they're suffering, okay? And when they need help. And really, my job isn't to judge them for whatever they're going through. My job is to recognize that what they're experiencing isn't of their true essence. It isn't of light, or they wouldn't be suffering. Okay. And then bring about a connection between them and their real essence. And with that connection comes healing. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is be aware of what their true essence is. And as Abby said in her part of the class was the only real darkness there is when we feel a sense of separation from light, right? And that means we're in fear. That means hate. Means um, we're in some kind of anger or whatever. But with those feelings, there's always plenty of thoughts that come with them. But all of those thoughts aren't based in light. So you would call that darkness. Okay. The way out is to become aware of it. And, people always think, well, when these things stop happening, I can feel good, right? The truth of the matter is we want to learn how to go through and navigate a world with good and evil in it while staying in the light and staying protected. And that's really one of the higher lessons you can learn and one of the better lessons you could ever have. Because with that comes protection, With that comes intuition. With that comes you stepping into your life's purpose, because your life's purpose always comes from light. Okay. And with that comes a sense of joy and a sense of understanding that we're created from light. And with that, everything we say and do has power behind it. If we're connected to light and we say and do things, they have a very positive effect on the world. And they're very strong. And we don't even have to say anything. We can just be sitting in light. There's one, when I was studying mysticism, one of the teachers said that an enlightened person sitting on a couch doing nothing has a very positive effect on like 100,000 people in their area, because they're raising the frequency, they're holding a grid, right? Abby and I, we took a group to Sedona a couple weeks ago, and we went all to these vortexes, these very high vortexes they have in Sedona. And after the group left, Abby and I went to this one called Kachina Woman, and we were sitting there meditating and just doing nothing, relaxing. And out of nowhere, I got some learning. I got like a download. And the download was that these vortexes are full of light and truth. They don't have an ego. They don't have an agenda. They don't have fear, right? They're kind of like an antenna to raise your frequency. And when you sit in them, it automatically starts to dominate. The higher consciousness already automatically starts to dominate. And that's what dissolves fear. That's what dissolves darkness, is to be in the light. Okay. And it brings clarity, and it brings understanding, and it brings knowing. And so, what you really want to learn is how to navigate your life no matter what situation you're in. You can remain connected to light, because that's your protector, that's your intelligence, that's your bridge to your guidance. And really, that's what keeps you healthy and heals you. Okay. That's like infinite intelligence. It's like the AI that is nothing but truth. Okay. And so the real key to overcoming darkness is to learn how to connect with light and trust it. Okay. And learn when to connect to light and how often we need to connect to light. Okay. So you know, the real key about good and evil is, what do you want to choose to connect to? And how do we connect to it? And how often do we connect to it? And how do we recognize when we are in a dark environment, and what do we do about it? Right? And that's really what it's all about. And in this world, there's one of the people I study, his name is Bruno Grunin, again from Germany, again a very well-known healer. And he says, in this world, no matter every step we take, we have to make a choice between whether we're going to choose good or evil, darkness or light. Okay. And that's really what we have as a choice. It goes back to, if someone hurts you, do you choose to forgive them and let them go? Or do you choose to try to pay them back and punish them? Right. And that choice is your free will, but the consequences of that choice are real for the time being. Right. And I've seen people, where I work with them, and it's like they've had lifetimes with a relationship where they've been battling to see who's better than each other. And it's all anger, it's all fighting. And it's like, well, if you keep doing that, when's it going to change? It's not. Okay. So we want to become aware of when we're doing things that are harmful to ourselves or others. And that just takes monitoring ourselves. That's it. And recognizing that, you know, all we have to do is change our minds, and we change our outcomes. Okay. But, you know, there's Yogananda wrote a book called Why God Permits Evil. And I have it right here, actually. It's a little pamphlet. how God permits evil and how to rise above it. Okay. But really, when you look at it, it's in this world we have free will to choose whatever we want. And what we choose is what we create, and what we create is what we experience. So, I was working with someone the other day, and the person had a lot of guilt. And guilt is, to me, it's a way that darkness tries to manipulate and control people. Okay. Sometimes guilt is real because you did something wrong and you feel bad about it. But a lot of times, guilt is just someone trying to manipulate you. Okay. And they blame you. And you got to be present when that happens, because if you just accept it, then all of a sudden you're afraid and you're reacting to it because you believed it. Okay. And it goes like, when you have a lot of responsibility in this world, no matter what you do, half the people are probably going to like you and half the people are probably going to hate you, right? And until you get certain levels of discernment and recognize that what you're doing is based in truth, it will have a big effect on you. You run around afraid to, like with me, I tried to make everybody happy and it never worked. Okay. Wasn't until I started, I got some, I got some discernment from my guides that that doesn't work, that I outgrew it. But bottom line is that, I was working with someone the other day about guilt. I'm telling you about that. And when you have a lot of guilt, you see the world through that filter, like I'm bad and I deserve to be punished type of a filter. Okay. And that in itself is a form of darkness because you're believing it. So you're unconsciously starting to create it and you're in defense to it all the time. Okay. And as long as that goes unchecked and uncleared, you're going to create a life that's not very happy or joyful. Okay. The way to clear it is to recognize it's going on in you, meaning that, okay, I get this darkness going on, right? Because it's not of your essence. And then to call in the light and ask the light, call in the divine, call in your guides and angels, and offer it to them and ask them to clear it out of you. They know how to do it. Okay. They know how to do it. One day I had this dream. It was before one of Abby and I's classes. And at night before I go to sleep, a lot of times I'll set things up to where I get healing while I'm asleep. And so one night I had this dream. And in this dream, I was a little boy and someone was looking at me very disapprovingly and telling me I was bad, right? And they were going on and on and on about it. And in this dream, there was this divine being in the dream, and she was watching the dream. And I was watching this person unload all this stuff on me, and I was drinking it up. But I had no protection because I didn't know I trusted the person, right? Like when we're little kids, we trust our parents, we trust adults. And if your teacher says you're not very bright, you might believe it. Okay. Then you spend the rest of your life defending yourself against that because you believed it. So it became part of your essence, or it become part of your identity, let's say. And so in this dream, all of this stuff was coming in, and I felt horrible because somebody was telling me I was bad, and that's just the way it was. I was like, okay, right? But when that happens ongoingly with you, if you're in a relationship that has a lot of that going on, eventually you believe it and you start getting mad at yourself for not being good enough. And all of these other things happen because you believe the one thing. Okay. And then we go into defense about it, like Abby was talking about, and we try to defend it instead of just letting it go. Right. And that's the mind trying to heal it. And so when the mind tries to heal a wound like that, it tries to prove to whoever it is that's responsible for implanting it that, yes, I am good enough. I am good enough to be loved, right? I am good enough to be treated well, right? And, you know, the bottom line is that, you know, that doesn't work. What works is if you, like in Abby's meditation, if you bring light in and you just simply ask the light to remove from you anything, any thoughts, judgments, perceptions, or experiences that blocked your connection to the light, that blocked your connection to seeing yourself as you were truly created in the light of God, in the expression of God, right? And if you do that on a regular basis, it starts to pull the stuff out of you and you start to see things more clearly. A lot of the people I work with, they go, I don't know what happened, but I don't think as much anymore. I don't have to, right? And I feel more at peace. Well, same thing with Abby. It's like when you pull these things out, you're no longer trying to manage them in your mind, so you don't have to think about it. It's just not there, right? Um, it's gone, right? And it's gone because you're no longer giving it power. You're no longer giving it your life force, right? So one of the things that you want to start to really pay attention to really start to heal and and quit nourishing anybody projecting darkness onto you or any of the thoughts that they project onto you is start to pay attention to how you feel. You know, emotions are a fairly good indicator of what's going on in the mind. So if you're feeling angry, right? Instead of acting out of anger, which will never usually not create good results, call in the light and ask the light to pull the anger out of you. And again, to heal the thoughts, the perceptions, the memories, the expectations. There's always expectations to anger out of you. Okay. Because when you're in anger and you're thinking and you're acting, you're still a powerful being and you're still creating, but you're not creating what you want and you're in defense. Okay. I mean, that's just the truth of it, right? But if you can sit with it and allow it to dissipate, and when you connect to light, it will always dissipate and heal anything not like itself. Okay. And you don't have to micromanage it. You don't have to tell it what to do. All you have to do is be open, make the connection, feel the connection, and then just trust it. Just allow it to penetrate. Okay. And as that happens, it automatically heals. It automatically corrects your thoughts. It automatically gives you intuition. Okay. And it automatically dissolves and protects you from darkness. Right? It's like the only healer there is. Okay. And it will never hurt you. So it's really important to build a relationship with it. Okay. Um, once the emotion dissipates, you'll usually have right guidance and right thought as to what actions to take for yourself. Okay. And that's why it's such a personal thing. It's like, you know, when you have something going on in yourself, if you use that as an opportunity to bring light to yourself, then you've given yourself an opportunity to heal something. And what you want to start recognizing is anything that's coming up in you is an opportunity for you to choose to bring light to it and choose to heal it. And as you heal it, you step more and more and more into the light and into living more of a peaceful life. Okay. It's only when we get caught up in the emotion and we start defending ourselves because of the emotion, or trying to change the outer world forcefully so we don't have to feel it, is where we start creating more problems. Okay. Look at wars, right? Wars are all about anger and hate and projecting it outward, right? And as they do that, they destroy things. That's darkness in action. Okay. But if people weren't full of anger and hate, and they weren't thinking these thoughts, they wouldn't go to war. right? But first of all, we get basically hypnotized into believing that these people are bad and we're good, and we have to do something by force to control them so we don't get hurt. That's darkness in action. Okay. If you just, when that happens, if you just take a few minutes to connect with light and really sincerely ask for right thought and clarity, you'll get it. Okay. There's, you can read a lot of books, you can talk to a lot of teachers. There's nothing more powerful than learning how to intimately connect to the light within yourself and and then let it build itself inside of you. Build that relationship because as you do that, darkness naturally falls away. You don't have to worry about it. Okay. And you don't have to defend yourself against it. It just happens. And I've had time and time and again where I brought light to a situation where I faced like major bullies and stuff. And as I held light through a meeting with them, I never saw them again. They just left. And it was it, right? But if you start to recognize, you know, that darkness is nothing but the absence of light, and it's usually just some form of fear. Okay. If you can recognize that and not personally judge yourself for it if it's active, okay. But also don't let it use you as an instrument, right? Monitor your emotions. If you're angry, try to sit with it. I mean, and call in light and just let it dissipate. And it will, usually within like 5 or 10 minutes. Okay. But it will also heal your thoughts, which is really amazing. I do a lot of prayer work with people to where I'll offer an emotion to the divine and all of the thoughts, all of the judgments, all of the memories, all the expectations associated with it. And usually within a few weeks, they don't have the emotion and they're thinking differently and they don't know why. And I don't know why. Okay. But I do know it works. I've seen it work time and time again. Okay. But you know, the important thing is to recognize when darkness is present, and you can do that through emotions. Okay. The other thing is don't try to fight it. Just bring light to it. Don't try to fight it. Don't compromise yourself to make it go away. If you're afraid, that's how bullies work. They make you afraid, and then if you give them what they want, they quit bullying you for a moment or two. Okay. But then they come back and bully you again. And then they get what they want again. And then they bully you again. And you keep giving away and compromising yourself, right? That doesn't work. What works is that if you feel the fear, be honest with yourself that, okay, this is scaring me, and bring in the light, offer the light your fear, and ask for healing and help. Okay. And ask for courage and strength. And then just allow things to take place. Don't force it. You know, don't don't lead with your mind, lead with your heart. Okay. That was one of the things that I learned the hard way was that, you know, working in a business and working with a lot of egos and stuff, a lot of people are using anger, fear, frustration, all these things that are uncomfortable to be around in order to manipulate people, in order to force things. And the truth of the matter is, none of those are powerful. And they all come from darkness because they come from fear, right? I used to have a guy that worked for me that every time I pointed out something that he was doing or did that was like a major mess up, he would immediately go into rage and start creating this big ball of confusion all over the company. And I was like, huh, what's that? Right? What it was he was afraid and he didn't want to be shown. He didn't want to be seen and he didn't want to face what he was doing. So he created all of this drama, right? To the point where people just left him alone because they didn't want the drama, right? Knowing what I know now, I would have just fired him. right? But I didn't know that then. I just put up with it. Anyway, but I mean, I want to kind of do a meditation and I want to just really teach people that we can connect to light at will. And it's all of our right to connect to light because we come from the light. Okay. Anybody that told you you weren't worthy of God's love or God's approval or light or help was manipulating you. Okay. And, or they were coming from a place of their own ignorance and believing it, right? A lot of people believe you deserve to be punished. Well, truth of the matter is, if people choose light, punishment goes away, right? We only get punished as long as we're doing something that's creating pain for someone else. It comes back to us. Okay. One of the guys I studied, his name was Joe Goldsmith. I don't know if anybody knows him, but he was a mystic and he was a very good healer. And all he did was connect people to light, really. When people asked him for a healing, he would connect them to light remotely and they'd be healed. And that's another thing I want to go through in the meditation. But at one point, he went into maximum security prisons where people were in there for murder and rape and all kinds of serious stuff. And he would meditate with them. And he says, if they got enlightened, if they got a strong connection to the divine and they got healed, they could never harm anybody again. And they all got released out of prison, no matter what they did, because it was no longer needed. Or they were put to use in prison to help heal others. But there was nothing in their consciousness that could ever harm anyone anymore. And that's really what the connection to light brings about. It brings about peace and harmony in you. And when that happens, you automatically start to share it with the rest of the people in your life, right? And if that happens, like, if you believe you're not good enough and deserve to be punished, by the way, is guilt, right? You might attract relationships where that's the case. As soon as you clear that out of yourself, the relationships shift or they dissolve and you find someone that treats you with respect. Okay. But what it goes back to is monitor what comes on in you. And if you sense that it comes from darkness, bring light to it. Okay. Just bring light to it. Okay. If you're angry, bring light to it. Just connect to the light. Don't deny that you're angry. Just feel it. But allow the light to pull it out of you and allow the light to heal the thoughts associated with it and allow the light to bring whatever you need in that moment. And usually within a few minutes, it will dissipate and you'll always have mental clarity after it does. You'll know what to do with whatever the situation is. Okay. So let's do a meditation. And in this meditation, I just want to strengthen the connection to light because that's your protection from darkness. And it will always protect and dispel darkness. Okay. So when you're comfortable, just close your eyes. Now, how do we connect to light? We want to recognize that it's always with us. And we just want to ask it to come in and reveal itself to us. Okay. So for me, I usually call it God, Holy Spirit, Divine Mother, but I just call it in. I say, I close my eyes. I invoke the divine presence. Okay. That means the divine. That means my spiritual guides, my angels. It means all the avatars I work with. And I just ask that consciousness to come in. And I just try to remain still. The way we do that is just focus on our breathing. So just call in your guides, your angels, whatever word you have for the divine, or this consciousness that only loves and heals, and that's all knowing and all truthful. And then just take a deep breath and relax into it. And some of you might feel a sense of warmth, sense of tingling, sense of peace. Once you feel that, or some of you might see light, once you feel that, just open yourself to it and just thank it for being present. The first thing you might want to ask it now is just to heal you and bless you and give you what you need in this moment for your highest good. And then be still and allow it to help you. Now just let this light become more and more present and more full within you. And you can let it expand from you and fill your room or fill your house. And you can ask it to clear anything in your room or your house that needs to be cleared and transformed into light. And then just go back to focusing on it and allowing it to do the work. And if there's anything that you need help with now in your life, some people have requested prayers. I want you just to offer that into this light right now and ask the divine light and all these healing guides and angels to heal and correct whatever situation you need help with and to bring about what's best for your highest good. And while you're connected to this light, ask it to bring you those that can help you through. It can heal you through. It can protect you through. And it can bless you through. And that means in the spiritual realms and in the earthly realms. Just to bring into your life those that it can help you through. It can heal you through. It can bless you through. It can protect you through. And to strengthen your connection to light, to love, to truth, to your divine guidance. If there's anything that you want to let go of, if you've had a bunch of reoccurring emotions, if you've had a reoccurring problem in your life, suffering of any kind, offer that to this consciousness. and ask it to take it from you and heal and transform it, and to help you heal and transform it completely and totally. Ask it to take charge of healing and transforming it until it's completely healed. Ask this connection to grow, to become stronger. To bring you more help in your day-to-day life, to protect you in your day-to-day life, to open you to receive more love and compassion and joy in your life. Now just spend some time asking for what you want and help with anything that you want help with. But after you ask, just be still for a moment or two and let the light respond. It may respond with guidance. It may just respond with energy. But know that you're heard and know that whatever you ask for, you'll get help with. The key to getting help is to make your connection, to feel the connection, to ask for what you want, and then to let go and allow. Allow it to come in the way it comes. And when you ask, you'll always receive. Some really powerful things to ask for when you're connected is understanding. When you understand something, it will always bring about a healing. It will shift perception. When you have right perception, you'll be healed. Ask for protection. Ask for divine discernment so you see things as they truly are. I always ask to see things as they truly are with love and compassion in my heart. And with you understand something, again, you have protection. When you see it for what it is, you have protection. So take a couple more deep breaths. And you may give permission for this light, this divine consciousness, to continue to heal you while you sleep tonight, to remove anything from you that no longer serves you, that causes suffering. When you feel complete, you can open your eyes. Okay. So at the end of these, Abby and I always have time for questions or comments. Does anybody have any questions about this class or any comments? Okay, I don't see any hands going up, but Abby, you have anything you want to add?
Thank you, everybody, for your comments on the chat and certain people having issues with problems they have, or feeling depression or despair about certain relationships, I would recommend just reviewing some of these meditations, especially Jim's, because his meditation is particularly good for being in a negative emotion and then being able to take some really constructive steps to have it being lifted off of you. And it's not so much lifted off of you temporarily, but his work can really lift it off of you permanently. Also, the light exercises I conducted, that we both conducted, really, just remember that you can tune into those every day. Even in a difficult day or a difficult moment, you can just tune into a light exercise pretty quickly, 3 or 4 minutes, and it may take the burden off of you, and it also may lighten your path so that as you go into your day, your decisions are clearer and your mind is clearer. The thing about light is that it's there for us to use all the time. And we forget about it because we get so concerned with our mental world. It's a little hard sometimes to connect with light because it's not something we do in our mind. We actually take the steps that Jim brought you through and that I brought you through, and you probably have yourself in your own spiritual path. Sometimes it's hard to remember to do that. We want to jump to our mind and go, okay, how do I solve this? How do I solve that? And yet, the best way to solve it is just take those couple of moments and tune into those higher frequencies, because that can shift everything in ways that we just couldn't have expected. It was really great meeting all of you. And I just wanted to say, for those of you that live in the Washington, D.C. area, that we will be there for a weekend, a seminar weekend, June 7th and 8th. So if you're interested in it, please email us, come through our website, www.infinitelight.me. You might be interested in joining us.
Yeah. In the weekend, we're going to really be teaching a lot about clearing emotions and also obstacles to having clear guidance. Um, I think that, right now, one of the most important things is to learn how to clear emotional charges, because they're coming up for everybody right now, and it's part of our clearing. But if we don't know how to clear them, we don't heal. We just keep fighting it. And when you do learn how to clear it, there'll be a sense of joy with it, and you'll be at peace and you'll feel safe. So that's one of the things that I think will come about in the weekends event. And did you say we're not going to do classes for like the next 3 months on Zoom?
Well, oh, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, our session is over until September. Those of you that are coming to us from Meetup or Eventbrite, the September class will be listed. But I also want to remind you that we have a YouTube channel, and we're putting all of our this class and all past classes will be on our YouTube channel for free. And during the summer, we will add new classes and new videos and new meditations. So please keep checking the YouTube channel. It's Infinite Light LLC, or you can just put in my name, Abbi O'Neill, and you'll get to our YouTube channel. Also, future events, seminars. We may end up going to Seattle. The places we're thinking of doing these weekend seminars or classes are at the moment Seattle, Maui, London, and maybe another trip to Washington, D.C. after our present seminar, which is June 7th and 8th. So if you live in those areas and you're interested, just get in touch with us through our website.
Yeah.
And I
Also,
did
Sedona
notice,
back in like October.
oh yeah, Sedona too. One thing I wanted to mention, people are talking about shame, about the pain and suffering going on in the world. Um, is there real darkness? Does it have a real force? Of course it does, and of course these are very disturbing. All I can say is that I've noticed for myself, as I continue to raise my frequency, I can deal with it better. So again, put your attention on raising the frequency, put your attention on taking those emotions to the light and releasing them. And I think it just gets better and better and better. I also want to remind everyone that Jim is an amazing one-on-one healer. He does amazing sessions with people to help them release these negative emotions. So you can contact him through the website.
Yeah. One of the things you want to focus on is that you're very powerful. Your words have power. Your choices have a lot of power. If you choose to let go of things, that's very powerful, and letting go of the past, forgiving yourself for the past, whatever you've done or you perceive that you did, let it go. Otherwise you're in defense to it and you're trying to, make up for something I was working with someone the other day again that was guilty, and she was trying to make up for things that she was told were bad, but when I checked into it, there wasn't anything bad about it. She was just being manipulated. So it was like, it's okay to let this go and heal your thoughts, because when someone tells you you're bad for years, you tend to believe it. And once you believe it, you're in complete defense to it. And so, you don't heal it by, trying to prove that you're not, because usually you keep attracting what you're believing. You got to get it taken out of you, right? And it works. I mean, this work really works, and it's pretty effortless because, like in that meditation, if you notice, it's like you make a choice and then you allow the light to do the work. You don't have to micromanage it. You don't have to force it with emotion. If you do, you block it. You just allow it to unfold. Okay. But, one of the things that comes when you start to really get into this work is you realize that whatever you're creating via misperception or perception has an effect. So you want to heal things that you may be doing unknowingly that are limiting you, right? It's like back to Joe Goldsmith. He was a famous healer in the 50s, and when he got his healing gift, he wasn't allowed to charge for it. And he was a businessman before that, and he lost his business and he was going broke. So he had no money, but he was healing people of all kinds of things. And he knew that it was a lesson for him. And so he just kept praying for, to heal from it. And eventually he got a correct understanding about the nature of abundance. And when he received that, he never lived in lack again. And what he taught later on in his life was that if you believe in lack, you'll always be creating it at some level. If you let go of that completely, once you realize the laws of nature, which is all about abundance, you'll never live in lack again, right? But it's not, you don't have to be afraid of it at that point. A lot of people constantly they're afraid that they're not going to meet their bills and they're not going to do this and they're not going to do that. That needs to be healed, but we don't understand it. So we just keep going out like a hamster on a wheel, trying to work harder, right? That's not how it works. You heal what's going on the inside and it heals the outer world, right? So in this, in this event, we'll be doing a lot of energy work, but we'll also be doing a lot of clearing for people and helping them learn how to clear to where the rest of their life they have tools to heal themselves, which is that's freedom, right? Freedom is when you can do things on your own and you know it works, right? So anyway, if you guys have any questions for us, you can please email us. Any comments about the class, you can email us. Any wishes for future classes, please email us. And
And I also want
we
to
look,
mention that we also have a prayer section on our website. And Jim is a very formidable prayer. So if you send a prayer request, he actually does work very hard to pray. And there are many people that have seen healings through his prayers. So if you feel the need to connect with him, either for a session or for the prayers, which are themselves free, reach out, because I think the biggest message about this good and evil, whatever, is that we're all together. the more we connect to light, we're also connecting to a grid of light. That grid of light starts taking over. And yes, the evil in the world and the tragedies are terrible, but the more we stand firm in that grid of light, the stronger it gets, the bigger it gets, and the more people it encompasses. And I truly believe there's going to come a time, maybe within our lifetime, where we start seeing through evil and darkness and say, we don't want that. Like we have evolved to the point beyond that. We're holding a grid of light together. We're not believing in separation, but we're believing coming together and light is going to rule the planet. And I really believe that can happen. I think we're there almost right now. It just takes connecting to the light and connecting to each other.
Yeah. And recognize that one of the characteristics of dark energy is it tries to engage you with itself,
Yeah,
right? To where it wants you to fight it, it wants you to hate it, it wants you to fear it. And if you don't, it can't touch you. Right? I just can't. That's the only way it
yeah.
gets in is through lower energy. So when you go and fight it, there's a movie with Kevin Bacon. I forgot what it was called. Um, but he was a Christian and one of his kids were killed by a gang member. And the rest of the movie he was fighting the gang. And at the end of the thing, they're in this church and he gets the upper hand on the head of this gang member and he's getting ready to kill him. And he says, I won. And the gang member says, no, I won. I made you into me. Right. And that's really what darkness tries to do is take you down to its level and be destructive. Right. So once you're mindful of that, it can't play as many tricks on you. Does that make sense? So anyway, and somebody's raising their hand. Yeah.
I just, well, for one, I'm naturally not a good speaker, so the anxiety and that level of darkness, I'm choosing to let that go. And I just want to let you guys know, um, you opened up a major, like a huge perspective to me. I struggle with OCD and anxiety, so the darkness for me is the thoughts, the emotion of anxiety, and this tool, like meditation's a huge part, and this tool that you guys have brought in with the light and not engaging. OCD wants me to engage always. So the it's a special gift. I think that you guys have really impacted me today in the way I look at things. And like I said, I'm talking right now. I never even thought I would talk on this. So I want you guys to, I just want to thank you. And I think every single day now I will continue to bring that light in and continue to trust in its healing. And with OCD, a part of it is not doing anything, and I think not doing anything, but also now learning that I can trust in the light is
Yeah.
unbelievable. And I just want to thank you guys both for having me here today. And
Oh, you're definitely welcome.
thank you.
So I'm so
Yeah,
glad. And remember, come back to these meditations if you need. Them. They're free. They're on the YouTube
Absolutely,
channel. Free. It's
yeah,
absolutely.
and more and more. We just get more and more used to it. It becomes more part of our day. It gets easier. But thanks
Yes,
so much. That's really neat.
awesome.
yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Join us again in September. Come to our website and see what other events you can join. We'd love to see you or have you there. Thank you.
We'll
Awesome.
probably release some short, like how-to videos over the summer, so we'll put them on the YouTube channel too. Just very 10-minute lessons on how to do this and how to do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much. Have a good Memorial Day and hope to see you soon again.
Oh, and the YouTube channel is again Infinite Light LLC. Somebody else had Infinite Light, so we just had to put LLC on it. But that's us. Thank
All
you.
right, let me check to see if there's any more questions. What astro sign you actually your birthday?
That's Beverly. I can answer her by email.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody.